potent ball movement, heavy offense in Denver, where there's multiple guys that can make plays. Spurs are a little bit more, they'll post DeRozan. They'll play cutters off of him. They'll post, LaMarcus, and they'll play cutters off of him. And most times he'll catch the ball and he'll be in that advantage already. So which I think will really help his game. I think he's got some untapped offensive ability, man. I think this is just one of those classic Spurs pickups that kind of get swiped under the rugs. But by the time the All-Star break kind of rolls around, we'll kind of see the fruits of the labor of that pickup. So.
Okay, I like it. So we agreed on a lot of things. Obviously, we had a lot of good conversations in the Bahamas about certain guys, what we like about players' philosophies. Later, maybe in about 2 weeks, we'll start talking scheme. I do want to pick your brain since you are a coach. We'll talk about that in a later podcast. Let's talk about the sleeper rookies. Who do you got at number one? Or this isn't in no order, but just one guy.
Jordan Poole.
Okay.
Surely,
Okay.
surely he's on your list.
He's not on my list, but I can see why. That team has zero depth. I think the Warriors. He's gonna have his chances, no doubt. I
I,
mean, he can no doubt, outplay McKinney.
I hope so.
And if he does, I'm thinking McKinney to me is a third string player. And I was at media day last Friday. I was asking guys like Scott Cooper from NBA.com. I was like, well, I love their star power, but who the hell is gonna play at the small forward position and a shooting guard without Clay being there for God knows when? March, April. We don't know when he's gonna come back. So if those guys to me are third stringers, then the other guys must be what? So, but I can see his skill set and how he displayed his ability to score. I can see that guy being better and possibly outplaying a guy like McKinney, right?
Yeah, at least he's got the talent. You know what I mean? Like guys like McKinney and Quinn Cook are guys that were kind of groomed through the G League system, and more are culture guys. But I think Jordan Poole has the talent to kind of create his own shot, to make decisions and ball screens, and then he can really shoot the ball. So and then the Warriors just kind of have that culture that I think Denver's kind of developed,
Mm-hmm.
Toronto's kind of developed, where you can kind of just plug in players. And it's almost like they're a product of their environment. So they're a product of development. They're a product of the confidence that the whole organization kind of puts into them, kind of like Quinn Cook. So
I like Quinn Cook. I don't know what his role will be in LA, or if he's going to get much playing time. There's a lot of good or better players now than last year. He is a shooter, but he's just terrible on defense.
he's a locker room guy, man. He's a guy that people respect because he's just always in the
Right.
gym. And people just like Quinn Cook and want to see him do well. So when he does well, it kind of brings a different energy to the team. Because I do think he's a true grinder.
No doubt. So I am going with Cody Martin, my guy from the University of Nevada. I love him. He would have been on the Kings roster if they had number 36. They had number 40. I've been on record saying this, that they really liked him when I spoke to him in that pre-draft workout. He had a really good one, and they liked him. They didn't have 36. He went 4 spots before him. He went back to his home state. I think he's going to have a lot of opportunities on that really bad team. So he's a guy who, on a good team, could be an eighth man type player who steals, who facilitates, who has a real good feel for the game, who can knock down some open shots. He's not a prolific shooter, but he's a good enough shooter to hit those shots if he's wide open. I see him as what's his name last year from the Kings? He's a veteran. He's like on every team.
Garrett Temple.
That's my guy, but oh, he was on the Kings last year towards the end of the year. He's bald and he wears a headband. I'm sleeping on his name right now. He was a number 4 pick in the draft. Cody Brewer.
Corey Brewer.
Corey Brewer. My bad, y'all. It's been a tough day. He's that type of guy to me. A Corey Brewer who can last 10, 12 years in the NBA, a consummate professional, does the little things to win NBA games. He's a locker room guy. He's that guy for me, and I think he will get a shot to shine with the Charlotte Hornets. So who's
Yeah.
number 2 for you?
Yeah, I mean, just touching on Cody real quick. I think he's just. I agree. I think he's steady hand, man. I think he's low risk. I think I'm not going to go as far to say high reward, but I think it's just there is some reward there just because he's just a guy that hits singles. He hits singles all game. Doesn't really step up to the plate and hit a home run, but he can get you in your stuff. Like you said, he can hit a shot and he can defend both guard positions. So
you're a coach, bro. You're a coach, so you love those type of guys that just make winning plays, right?
oh, no doubt, no doubt. And he's got some. He's got balls.
Right.
He can hit big shots. He's not afraid to guard the other team's best player. And he's come from a winning program. So you're just like you said, when you're a coach, you just kind of you think winners think and perform and at a different velocity mentally than regular people. And I think that's something that Cody's got internally.
All right, so he got number 2.
And this is something down the road, because I think
Okay.
they have some pieces, in play already. I really, really, really like Daniel Gafford.
Okay.
I really like Daniel Gafford. All of 6'11", just a freak athlete. He had averaged 16 points a game, at Arkansas. So there is some offensive ability because the SEC is no joke. I think he can be a lob catching. I think Mitchell Robinson. You know what I mean?
Okay.
A watered down, toned down version of Mitchell Robinson. His motor is what's going to make his money. And at the end of the day, man, if you can protect the rim, you can guard a ball screen, and you can catch a lob, man, you can be a guy that makes $70 million in NBA at the 5 position because it's such dead weight. So Daniel Gafford. I liked him in summer league too, man. I thought he was productive. I think he was a little inconsistent, but he definitely was productive. So for a second round pick.
I like that pick. I'm going to go on that same track of motor. I think Brandon Clark from the Memphis Grizzlies has a motor, and as you can see, all my guys are upper class classmen. They're older guys. My third guy is Carson Edwards. But going back to Brandon Clark, to me, Brandon Clark makes every single winning play. He's a great, with the capital G, defender. He has such a great feel on that end of the floor. And if he can continue to hit those high percentage little hook shots that he has in there, him and Jaren Jackson together will be a nightmare defensively for so many teams. They're so switchable, and I just love the idea and the potential of those two playing center and power forward for the next 10 years if they can keep those two together. So he's one of my guys. Again, he's a rookie. He has to earn his stripes, no doubt. But I just feel like he's a winner, and he brought that mentality at Gonzaga. He played, I believe, at San Jose State at first. Then he transferred over. So definitely, if he can do that, that shows the dedication, the hard work you put into your craft. I just really love Brandon Clark, and he's I think he's one of the best players in that class.
Yeah, like you said, right place, right time. He's accountable for the man that's in front of him. Like great positional defender. He's not going to block a lot of shots, but he's going to alter a lot. Wingspan. I think he's got a great wingspan, a thick body. And I agree, man. He's got unbelievable touch. So he's going to be, like you said,
and he's a freak athlete, though. It's Zion. Yeah. It's Zion, obviously, in his own class, and then it's Brandon Clark. Like this guy has a freak vertical jump. I just think that he just fits the new modern day big man.
Is it too far to say Al Horford, similar to Al Horford? Al Horford probably can stretch the floor a lot better, but that's something he developed over time, right?
No doubt. I can definitely see something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you got? So I said Cody, Brandon. You said would you say again?
Daniel Gafford, and my last guy is going to be. I don't think we can talk about the Miami Heat without talking about Tyler Herro. So
Okay.
I think there's a reason why they were, kind of got rid of Josh Richardson. One, because of his contract, and then two, I think the potential of Tyler Herro. So like you say, he fits their culture, and I think he's more than a shooter. Guys think 6'5" white guy.
Yeah.
He's gonna fight that narrative for the rest of his life. But Tyler Rowe has a real life game. So I think he can create his own shot. I think strength wise, he's got a way to go. But again, in that culture, dudes just get better in Miami.
Okay. I really like that pick. I watched him play this year at Summer League in Sacramento. He impressed a lot of people, no doubt. I'm gonna go with my last pick, Carson Edwards. I'm his biggest fan. I know he's small and he doesn't fit that prototype of an NBA player, but the kid has so much heart. And if you can shoot the rock from anywhere the way he can, you're always going to have a place in the NBA. As you know, shooting is the most important skill set right now. It just has to be. And this kid is a bucket machine. I think he can be successful in his role as a six man if he has a nice defending center who can block some of the stuff where he's gonna let go a lot of guards because he won't be able to stay in front of them. But I think physically he's really strong and that part is super underrated.
Yeah, just like in college, he played with two guys 7 feet plus, Isaac Humphries and then Matt Harms. But I agree, man. Is if he can get a shot off, which he's playing for one of the best offensive minds in basketball, Brad Stevens is going to create the space for you. You know what I mean? Like he's going to run the same DHO stuff that he did with Isaiah Thomas, and he's going to get you a look. And Carson Edwards is the guy that can make shots. So, but again, like on the opposite end of that is, as the 3-point line becomes, more and more prevalent in the NBA game, length is something that is needs to be valued. Defending the 3-point line, not just defending the paint, being able to keep guys in front of you. I think he's got a nice, strong base and a good body. So I don't think he'll have a problem sliding, but defending the three is sometimes a problem for guys with his measurements.
Right on. So we've covered 3 rookies, 3 potential breakout players. Now let's go to the 3 teams. At number 1, I mentioned it earlier, I got the Orlando Magic. That's a team who made some noise last year. They went in as an 8 seed. They beat the Raptors in that first game. I don't know if you remember that. And it was like, oh my gosh, here we go again. These are the Raptors. And I feel like if Gordon can take that next step, which is something I think is very realistic, Vooch continue to be that 20 and 10 guy. The key for me on that team is Jonathan Isaac, who I love. Will he be able to hit a consistent jump shot? He can play great defense. He has the length, the mobility, the athleticism. Does he have the heart? Does he love the game of basketball? He has the tools, but I don't know if you mentioned it to me or if it was Coach Luke who said that you guys played against him. But I want to know a little bit more about your insight and just the background information that we may or may not know.
Yeah, we played him, 4 years ago. Whenever again he was at IMG as well.
Okay.
And I mean he was walking around, so we beat him. We probably had all mid-major players at the time. And again, he wasn't competing, and he was not the best player on the floor, and not even close. So, but there's some things with his character that he was going to grow out of those things, and I think he has. But I mean, brother, just hit a corner 3. Hit a corner 3 at 38%, but
that's lethal.
That's lethal, especially for a guy his size and that other things he can do off the bounce. But if he can't, they got Al-Farouq Aminu, so that's an insurance plan. I think they give him I sit him down and say, hey man, 15 games, show me you've improved. And if not, I think it's Al-Farouq Aminu's spot to take. So Markelle Fultz.
And that's another guy. Markelle Fultz is a guy who I believe will have a resurrection of a season. I should have put him on my breakout players. Honestly,
Yep.
I'm a big Markelle Fultz fan. I think you're from Seattle, and I'm sure you've seen him play his entire life. Talk to me about him. Why do you think? I mean, nobody really knows, right? The whole his shoulder and what really
Actually, I do.
happened. Oh, okay. All right. Breaking news. Let's hear it, brother.
Motorcycle accident.
Oh shit.
Motorcycle accident. He wasn't, obviously he can't come to the media and say that because it would have been, something in his contract that's, um, would have stopped that from happening. But he did get in a motorcycle accident. I think it killed some nerves in the shoulder, which the response to that is that he can't, he has no feeling after a certain point. After he raises it to a certain point. So, and that is from a legitimate source. I won't say who, but
Yeah.
that is legit. So,
So
whether he can come back from that, I don't know. But to be honest, man, I've always thought, even when he was drafted, his ceiling was more Jeff Teague,
wow.
than a solid starting NBA point guard, athletic. But the ball screen heavy offense era of point guards is he just missed it. And I think 10 years ago I think he would have been a stud, but if you can't keep the ball moving and hit a shot, kind of like Kyle Lowry and Mike Conley, I think you should go in a different direction when you're thinking point guard of the future.
Wow. That's really good insight. I haven't really thought about it like that, but if that indeed is the case, do you think it takes about a year and a half? Because we've been seeing some highlights of him, and it seems like his jump shot is back and his shoulder is better. And now it does make sense why that shot was so hideous, right? I mean, we think to ourselves, you play 19 years of your life. How do you just forget how to shoot, right?
Yeah, you fall off a motorcycle. That's the only explanation.
No doubt. That
So,
that that
and again,
makes
that makes sense.
logically speaking, you're right.
Yeah, and that's why he was so quiet about it. I don't think he could. In his contract, he couldn't say anything.
No, yeah, because then that reminds me of Vladimir, the guy from the Lakers who went skiing, hurt his hand, and his contract got voided. So his contract would have been voided if you
I
know.
think Markelle was the same, but moped
Yep.
accident. I know. I think it ended up being leaked out in the media, but he wasn't allowed to be the one to say it, and to the media. So
Okay, so who's your number one team?
uh, I wrote them down. I took them off. I wrote them down. I took them off because they were my breakout team last year. Not necessarily to make the playoffs, but I did think they were going to win more than 22 games, and it's the baby Bulls.
Okay, I like that.
It's the baby Bulls, man. They've, like you said last week, young players organically are going to get better. So
Hmm.
Wendell Carter will make a jump.
I
He's a
love
solid
him.
NBA center. He can. You're not a fan.
I love that guy.
Okay. Okay. I
Love
think we
him.
like similar players. So
Yeah,
he's tough. Does he have all-star potential? I don't think so, but I think he's a solid NBA center.
I think he's Al Horford later, but just a little bit quicker.
Mhm, mhm.
And to
I
me, that's an all star in the East.
No doubt. No doubt.
So
He's young. He's young, man. I don't even know if
yeah,
he's 21 yet. So
no, he's not.
Lauri Markkinen, love him. Um,
Love that guy.
Absolutely love him. I was the one that really, really thought he was going to be a breakout. He's on my breakout players list
Okay.
this time last year. Zach LaVine, I think as the team gets better, his offensive role needs to drop a little bit, just because
No doubt.
I don't think his efficiency is that of a number one option. But super talented, super athletic, needs to be a better defender. But solid pros like Thomas Satoransky, Thaddeus Young. legitimate pros that they can play. Chris Dunn, something that I think they were missing the last 3-4 years. Otto Porter,
A good team, man. Like
good players.
that could be a good team. That's a
And like
good
you said
pick.
4 times, they're in the East. So their coach, Jim Boylan, is kind of like your old school, hold you accountable. He had them running wind sprints. The first week he got the job. That's the type of stuff that I like, man, holding dudes accountable. So I really want them to be good, and I do think they have the talent to.
I think they definitely have the talent. Will they be good is another whole conversation. Yeah, I got the Kings. That may seem biased, but again, every single national outlet is pretty much saying that they had a year where it was a fluke because they have the Kings winning anywhere from 32 to 35 games. They won 39 last year. This year, as I said last week, organically, you're going to have a better version of Buddy Hield. You're going to have a better version of De'Aaron Fox, a better version of Bogey, of Marvin Bagley, Harry Giles potentially if he can stay healthy. I don't see how they win less games than last year. Unless one of the big arguments is teams had no way of knowing that the Kings would play that fast. They led the league in pace. They even after a made bucket, they just pushed it. And this year, yeah, teams will be ready for the Kings, make no mistake. But can you really stay in front of a guy like De'Aaron Fox? Can you really stop a guy like Buddy Hield, who's going to get a shot off no matter what? So I don't care if every team scouts them and they're ready for that. You can't really stop that, right?
Mm-hmm. And like you said, as a coach, sometimes those are the hardest teams to scout. I think Dave Yeager was checked out. I think he knew he was at the tail end of his stint there, and they weren't winning anything. So that's sometimes the hardest thing to scout because there's nothing to scout. De'Aaron Fox is an outlet box. He's pushing up the court. The shots coming from any place at anywhere at any time. So there's no really rhyme or reason to what they're doing. So it's going to be interesting. Luke Walton, if he can find ways to generate baskets late.
Yeah.
If they can steal 4 games, that they're not really supposed to win or that they weren't in a position to win last year. I think that's going to make or break their season. So what would you think, man? How does the Kings? I don't think Harrison Barnes is the question. I think Marvin Bagley wants to be that, but until proven, I don't really want to give him that crown or that responsibility. De'Aaron Fox. I don't know, man. There's just a lot of mouths to feed, which I think kind of hurts them in this situation. So
I see what you're saying, and I can see that as a negative. I can also see it as a positive because the team has a lot of depth this season, something that they haven't had in 13 years. And as you know, in an 82 game season, injuries happen.
no
The
doubt,
Kings, I think the Kings are out of the top 12 teams in the West, the best equipped team to go through a very tough 82 game season. They're not per se star studded up front like top 8 teams in the West, but their depth can get you those extra 4 to 6 wins, which can make the difference when it comes to making that 1 through 8.
for
I
sure.
think the minimum games a win is 43. My question is, will 43 games get you in? And I don't know the answer to that. That may not be enough to make it in the top 8. Now, I do think they'll get to 43, but will it be 45? Will it be 46 this season? It's going to be very interesting, man, and it's going to be very tough. You have teams like the Mavericks, like the Pelicans, who are wild cards, who will make it tough every single night. There is no guaranteed win anymore. Even the Suns. The Suns will be respectable because they have a point guard who is at least above average, something that they haven't had in a long time. He's gonna make DeAndre Ayton better, in my opinion. He's gonna put Devin Booker in better positions to score the ball. He's gonna be off the ball, which may be a good thing for Devin Booker. So the Suns
Fantasy owners write that down. Ricky Rubio his usage rate is going to be crazy.
exactly.
Who's their third playmaker. And I mean, Devin Booker's got some potential.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I mean, they don't have anybody that can make a decision in a short row. He was on my breakout players, but that's more off of more opportunity. And again, he's in Utah. He's playing with playmakers as in Donovan Mitchell and
Mm-hmm.
even they would short row. Derek Favors and Joe Ingles would play on the ball. Dante Exum. He's going to go back to being, I think, a double guy. And I agree with you. They're going to be a little bit tougher down at Phoenix.
Yeah, so in the West, there won't be any easy wins. They'll beat the Suns, like the Kings will beat the Suns, but it won't be blowouts like last season. I
No
just
doubt.
think that team is better. Monty Williams, a guy who holds players accountable. I really like what they're doing. They're headed in the right direction. They have a lot of talent, a lot of young talent, but I don't know what to think of Devin Booker. I love his skill set, but is he a guy who could accept being a number two guy? Because in my eyes, he's no way in hell number one, and they pay him like a number one, and he believes he's a number one, which I think is an issue. And when you're number one, you have to at least elevate your teammates to the next level. At least win 30 games. They haven't. They've barely won 20 games. So that in my eyes is not a number one guy. He is a very nice guy. He could potentially be an all-star, but he's not a number one guy. He's a Robin to a Batman. Can Aiden be that Batman? I'm also not sure on that. I think he's a number two guy. So as of right now, I feel like that team has two number twos, and they will have to look or draft a number one. I think Luka would have been that number one for them, and they passed him up.
My theory with that is, uh, I think at some point you see these trades for superstars, as in Paul George and Anthony Davis, where one team trades a couple young players and a ton of draft picks. I would say at some point Carl Anthony Towns ends up with the Suns. I would say DeAndre Ayton and a crap ton of draft picks, maybe some Markelle Bridges and some other young players ends up in Minnesota. And then maybe D'Angelo Russell ends up in Phoenix as well. So three pretty unproven dudes, but they'll be fun to watch, and they'll probably party a lot in Scottsdale.
No doubt. No doubt. Okay, so I got the Magic, the Kings. Your first team was the Bulls, and who else?
Um, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think the New York Knicks. Um,
Wow. Okay.
they struck out in free agency. I know they wanted Kevin Durant and they wanted Kyrie Irving, and their wish list was something Santa couldn't make happen. But I think they have better players, man. I think Elfrid Payton was there last year and had a decent year. I think Alonzo Trier will be better. I think Wayne Ellington is a good pickup. Well, Reggie Bullock is a good shooter. Kevin Knox, I want to believe in you. Okay, Kevin Knox, if you can hear this, I want to believe in your long-term potential.
I like him.
Marcus Morris is a good player. I don't like R.J. Barrett, but Julius Randle, Taj Gibson, Mitchell
What
Robinson, is a
what
stud. Bobby
what
Portis.
don't you like about RJ Barrett?
Um, Shot creation. I don't think he's very creative off the bounce. I don't think he can get his shoulders by his man. I think he's really, really good in the charge circle, like 5 feet, 6 feet and in, but his problem is getting there. So if you're gonna have star potential, which the expectations is for him to be a star, you got to be able to beat your man. So, um, that's my kind of knock on him.
Okay, so you got the Knicks, and I guess my last team, since I had, well, I'm gonna go with Dallas. I'm a big Luca guy. I'm a big Porzingis guy. I don't like their depth, but they, again, I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but they'll be very close if they can stay healthy. If Porzingis can last an 82 game season, we don't know if he can. Just say they don't make the playoffs, they get a top 14, 13, 12, somewhere around there. They get a nice player in next year's draft, which is, I guess, going to be a better draft than this year. They can get another talent. Then they'll be in really good shape because Porzingis and Luka, they're so young, they're so skilled, and I just really love their potential. They have one of the best head coaches in the game, and that's why I'm going to have them as one of my breakout teams. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and I mean I agree. Luka's a stud. Porzingis is ridiculous when locked in and healthy. And they also have some good young pieces as well. I think DeLon Wright.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, remember how they got him, but I think DeLon Wright is a good player. Jalen Brunson is a starter. Seth Curry is a good player. Um, Dwight Powell. They got Boban, Marjanovic. So this roster is better. Like you said, is it good enough to top a San Antonio or a rising Sacramento? I don't think so. But they'll be fun to watch.
No.
They'll be on my all NBA League Pass team.
All right. Who do you got in number 3?
I don't have a number 3. I got 2 teams.
So you
What
got
do you
the
got?
Bulls, the Knicks.
I got the Bulls, the Knicks, and that's it. So,
Okay.
and I mean the Pelicans. That's my team.
Okay. That's fair.
I think it's obvious, man. I think if Brandon Ingram, I don't know if what do you think of Brandon?
I love Brandon. I'm still on that Brandon Ingram train. Um, I think, and this is obviously a theory. This is a hypothetical. People always want to say Jason Tatum is so much better than Brandon Ingram, and I'm like, okay, he's good, but if Brandon Ingram gets drafted into that culture, it's a whole different story, in my opinion. He got drafted into a culture that was dysfunctional, the most dysfunctional culture, I think, in basketball, and it really hurt him. He's a type of guy that needs to be in an organization that has structure, and the Celtics are that. I just feel like he's just more skilled than Jason Tatum overall. Obviously, Tatum is a better scorer, but overall, as a playmaker, I don't think Tatum stands a chance against a guy like Ingram who has a length. I just love his game, man.
Yeah, I think the same thing I got, same problem I have with RJ Barrett, same problem I have with Jason Tatum is kind of that long twos. Can he beat his man off the bounce? Like, does he have, and even Devin Booker, do they have the burst off the bounce
Okay.
to beat their man and draw fouls or beat their man and create angles for layups? And are they going to be a guy that settles for long twos? And then some nights that just doesn't win you games numerically. So my question to Brandon Ingram or to fans out there is, do you think the New Orleans Horn or New Orleans Pelicans, I'm sorry, can spread the floor and kind of use Giannis or use Brandon Ingram in kind of a Giannis role where he's getting downhill.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Zion Williamson behind the backboard as a lob catcher. He's got shooters around him. And he's getting downhill. You have to create a wall, and he just kind of makes the right play over and over and over. Do you think that's possible? Poor man's, really, really, really poor man's version of Giannis.
That's very, very possible in my opinion, man. Again, he's very skilled. He has a good feel for the game. He
Slippery.
sees the floor. He's slippery as you just said. If they use him in that type of role, okay. So real quick, who is your starting 5? Because I've had this conversation with a lot of people at media day. I think Drew Holiday may have to come off the bench. As crazy as that sounds, because I don't see Lonzo coming off a bench and being productive or that guy that we think. And I feel like if you got Zion and Ingram out there, you need JJ Redick for shooting and spacing. Do you get like that type of where I'm going with that? Because if you
No,
have Drew out
I
there, I
get it. I
mean,
just think Lonzo's the guy that's got to sit if that's the
damn
case.
it, I don't want him to sit though.
I agree with you. I think for a long term future for his stock, even if you're thinking about trading him later, like you got to play him, you got to showcase him. Like he's got to kind of get his confidence back. You can't stick him back on the bench and put him in the
Right.
same role he was in LA.
Yep.
Or the number 2 pick is a wash. So I think Lonzo needs to be in the game. I put Drew Holiday in, and I play JJ Redick heavy minutes. And I think he ends games.
Okay.
And I think Drew Holiday's tough enough to even guard a 3. So, um, but I think JJ's a pro. I think he'll understand. I think all he wants to do is win at this point of his career. I don't think starting is going to bruise his ego by any means. But I do think I wouldn't think today if I'm New Orleans. I would think, kind of long term. I would think, Drew Holiday has to feel important. Lonzo Ball has to feel important. All your young guys need to be poured into.
So do you start Zion at 5, Ingram at 4, Holiday at 3, JJ at 2, and Lonzo at 1?
You could. I go Drew. I'm sorry. I go Lonzo at 1. I go Drew at 2. I go Brandon Ingram at 3. I go Zion at 4. And I go Derek Favors at 5.
Okay. I mean, yeah. That Pelicans team is nice. They have options. They have what's his name from that big point guard from Summer League? Who?
Oh, Kill Alexander Walker.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So.
How fun was he to watch?
That's what I'm saying. Like this team is gonna be fun.
Josh Hart's a good player,
Josh
man.
Hart's a good player.
Rich Williams showed some promise at the end of the season. They got the Nicola Melli from Barcelona. Fred Jackson played well in the summer league.
Yeah,
Each one more.
That center who had that massive dunk. Jackson Hayes. Jeez. No, it's exciting, man. No doubt. Okay, I think we've answered all the things. I've held you for too long. We've had a lot of technical difficulties. And even in the video source, people said that they couldn't hear you in the beginning because I had you mute. So I apologize. But the audio version will be perfect because there is a backup recording. I apologize for that, my man. But now we know the system. We got to get on Skype. You got to go on the Mac. And we're gonna get this cooking. We're gonna have a perfection of a show next week.
We'll have some material too, man. We'll have some preseason games into our belt, man. I'm excited. So
yeah, and I really do want to break down some film with you. You can choose some clips. I'll choose some clips. We'll chalk it up. Talk about that. We'll have more information in terms of analytics, more numbers that we can use. Obviously, right now we don't have much to go off, but in last season, which I think is kind of irrelevant right now. So yeah, we're gonna have some preseason games. The Kings play in India on Friday, I think. The Rockets are playing today. I guess that's what you said. It'll be interesting to see what Mike D'Antoni will cook up in the preseason. And yeah, man, thank you so much. Any final thoughts?
It's here, brother. Let's make it a good year. Let's be consistent, man, and let's chop down and break down the NBA for whoever wants to listen. So
absolutely, man. And we're gonna try to do this potentially every Monday, and we'll let you guys know if we can't. But again, we could have quit today. We didn't. That shows the fighting spirit of we're like half Bahamian now, so we'll just say that. And again, shout out to our guy Buddy Hill, who's just done so much for his people, who's helped out so much to fundraise and potentially make life so much better.
Pray for the Bahamas. Pray for the Bahamas.
Absolutely, my man. All right, guys. We thank you guys so much. Make sure to drop a rating on iTunes. Let us know if you guys enjoyed this show, if you enjoyed the conversation. For the people that will listen to this on iTunes, on Spotify, on TuneIn Radio, whatever platform you have on audio, we're there. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys on the next one.